Welcome to a journey into the unknown. Today, we're unlocking the Shadow Kingdom, the origins of demons revealed. What if the demons we fear were never truly evil? Ancient myths tell a different story, of beings who embodied knowledge, power, and the consequences of crossing forbidden boundaries. From Mesopotamia to Greece, from the Watchers to the spirits that shaped human destiny. Demons were mirrors reflecting humanity's deepest fears and lessons. In this video, we'll explore how these mysterious forces evolved from guides and guardians into the monsters we know today, and what that reveals about ourselves. Unlocking the Shadow Kingdom. The origins of demons revealed. From the earliest records of human civilization, the idea of forces beyond human control has fascinated, terrified, and inspired humanity. Among these forces, demons have occupied a unique and complex role, far beyond the one-dimensional villains of modern popular culture. They are not merely creatures of evil, but symbols of the unseen, the forbidden, and the consequences of transgressing natural and divine boundaries. To truly understand demons, one must enter what scholars and mystics call the Shadow Kingdom, a symbolic realm where knowledge, power, morality, and fear intersect. The Shadow Kingdom is not a literal place under the earth, nor is it a realm solely of punishment. Instead, it is a multidimensional space where humanity projected its anxieties, its questions about the unknown, and its understanding of the forces that shaped life. Demons, in this sense, are not invaders, but intermediaries, guides, and warnings. To unlock this kingdom is to trace the origins of these beings, uncover their original purposes, and understand why they transformed into the malevolent figures that dominate modern imagination. The earliest origins, Mesopotamia and the first spirits. The concept of demons can be traced back to the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia. In Sumerian and Babylonian mythology, spirits were manifestations of natural and social forces. Some were benevolent, while others were destructive. But their primary function was never to embody evil in an abstract sense. It was to explain, influence, and control the unpredictable world. For instance, the Utaku and Galu spirits represented disease, drought, and misfortune. They were not evil for the sake of malice. They were forces that humans had to negotiate with, often through ritual, sacrifice, or appeasement. In these societies, what we now call demons were intermediaries between humans and the cosmos, representing the dangers and lessons embedded in the natural and social order. They were warnings encoded in myth, reminders that unchecked behavior, ignorance, or hubris could provoke disaster. Greek and Roman interpretations. Daimons as intermediaries. As civilizations evolved, so too did the understanding of these beings. In Greece, the concept of the daimons blurred the lines between divine guidance and human morality. Daimons were neither fully good nor fully evil. They were spirits that influenced destiny, guided human actions, and enforced moral balance. The philosopher Socrates even spoke of a personal daimon, a guiding spirit that warned him against error. Similarly, the Romans inherited this complex understanding, folding it into their own pantheon. Here, demons were less about punishment and more about maintaining equilibrium. They reminded humans that the world was governed by forces beyond immediate perception, and that wisdom required respect for these forces. In essence, demons became symbolic teachers, revealing truths about human limits, ambition, and morality. The Watchers and the Fall, from guardians to outlaws. One of the most profound transformations in the story of demons occurs in Jewish and early Christian texts, particularly with the narrative of the Watchers. The Watchers were angels tasked with guiding humanity, teaching knowledge, and ensuring that divine laws were respected. However, when they crossed forbidden boundaries, sharing secret knowledge, teaching forbidden arts, or taking human wives, they were cast out. Here, the narrative shifts from spirits as teachers to beings who fall because of transgression. This transformation is crucial. It marks the moment when the figure of the demon begins to embody both the allure and danger of knowledge and power. The demon is no longer neutral. It becomes a cautionary figure, illustrating the consequences of overreaching or misusing gifts meant for a higher purpose. Yet even in this fall, demons were never purely evil. They were embodiments of lost balance and corrupted potential. Cross-cultural echoes, demons in Eastern and indigenous traditions. The Shadow Kingdom is not confined to Western or Near Eastern mythology. Across cultures, demons emerge where human experience collides with forces beyond comprehension. In Hinduism, for example, asuras are often depicted as antagonists to the gods, yet they are not inherently evil. They represent ambition, desire, and unchecked power, the forces that test the integrity and balance of the cosmos. Similarly, in Japanese folklore, yokai are spirits that can be playful, protective, or dangerous depending on circumstances. These beings teach lessons about humility, respect for nature, and the consequences of ignoring societal or cosmic rules. Indigenous traditions worldwide also reflect this understanding. Many cultures personify spirits to explain illness, misfortune, or natural disasters, giving form to forces that humans must navigate. These demons are never monsters for entertainment. They are guides, warnings, and mirrors of the human condition. The Shadow Kingdom as a psychological realm. As human understanding evolved, the Shadow Kingdom became more than a mythological or spiritual concept. It became a psychological one. Demons began to symbolize the inner forces that humans struggle to control: fear, desire, anger, and obsession. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, interpreted demons as archetypes of the shadow, the aspects of the psyche that are repressed, denied, or misunderstood. In this light, the Shadow Kingdom is not external. It exists within every human being. The demons we fear are reflections of unacknowledged aspects of ourselves. Ancient myths encoded these truths into stories and rituals, ensuring that societies could confront, negotiate, and learn from these internal and external forces. What was once ritualized interaction with spirits became, in psychological terms, the recognition that unexamined impulses can grow destructive if ignored. From guardians to monsters, the moralization of demons. Over centuries, the function of demons shifted again. Societies began to moralize these beings, categorizing them as purely evil. This transformation served social and religious purposes. It clarified boundaries, enforced obedience, and simplified complex cosmologies into dichotomies of good versus evil. The result was the modern conception of demons as malevolent forces seeking to corrupt humanity. Yet beneath this simplified narrative lies the Shadow Kingdom's original purpose: to reflect the consequences of imbalance, ignorance, and misuse of knowledge. Demonization obscured nuance, but it could not erase the lessons encoded in myth. Even the most terrifying demons carry echoes of their origin as guides, intermediaries, and mirrors. Lessons from the Shadow Kingdom. Why does this matter today? Because the Shadow Kingdom is not just a relic of mythology. It is a lens through which we can examine human behavior, morality, and the use of power. By studying the origins of demons, we recognize recurring patterns. Power without wisdom is destructive. Demons often emerge where knowledge or ability exceeds moral or social understanding. Forbidden knowledge carries consequences. The story of the Watchers, the Asuras, and countless other myths warns against using power without respect for limits. Fear and projection shape perception. Societies project internal fears onto demons, illustrating that our enemies often reflect our own struggles. Balance is central. Across cultures, demons appear when equilibrium is threatened, whether in nature, society, or the individual psyche. These lessons remain relevant. Anxiety, obsession, addiction, and the misuse of technology or authority are modern forms of the same forces that ancient myths encoded as demons. The Shadow Kingdom endures, not as a place of monsters, but as a space where humanity confronts its own limitations, responsibilities, and potential for self-destruction. The Shadow Kingdom today. In the modern era, demons have migrated from myth to metaphor. They inhabit literature, film, and digital culture, but their symbolic function persists. They remind us that knowledge, power, and desire are double-edged, and that what is ignored or suppressed will return in forms that cannot be controlled. Understanding the Shadow Kingdom also restores nuance to history and religion. Demons are not inherently evil invaders. They are lessons disguised as beings, complex symbols encoding human experience and cosmic law. By unlocking this kingdom, we reconnect with a worldview in which myth served as moral, psychological, and social guidance, an educational system disguised as story. The enduring significance of demons. Across millennia, demons have fascinated, terrified, and taught humanity in equal measure. They have appeared in the myths of the ancient Near East, the philosophies of Greece, the sacred texts of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, as well as in the folklore of every continent. Yet despite their varied forms, one constant remains. Demons are more than mere monsters. They are symbols of human struggle, morality, power, and knowledge. Understanding their enduring significance requires exploring their origins, evolution, and the profound lessons they convey about the human condition. The origins of demons, messengers, guides, and warnings. In the earliest human societies, the forces we now call demons were not evil incarnate. They were manifestations of natural and social phenomena, given form to explain events beyond human comprehension. In Mesopotamia, spirits such as the Utaku or Galu represented disease, famine, and misfortune. Their malevolence was not personal but functional. These spirits embodied danger and imbalance, prompting humans to recognize, respect, and negotiate with forces beyond their control. Similarly, in Greek thought, daimons were intermediaries between gods and humans. They were neither wholly good nor wholly evil, but functioned as guides, warnings, and moral agents. Socrates famously claimed to hear a personal daimon, a voice guiding him away from error. Here, demons symbolize consciousness itself, the inner voice that warns, corrects, and directs human action. Even in early Jewish and Christian texts, beings later labeled as demons often began as divine agents or guardians. The Watchers, angels sent to guide humanity, became demons only after transgressing divine boundaries by sharing forbidden knowledge or engaging with humans inappropriately. Their fall marks a crucial turning point. Demons are born where guidance, knowledge, or power is misused, signaling the consequences of crossing ethical, natural, or cosmic limits. Across cultures, from Hindu asuras to Japanese yokai, demons emerge as mirrors reflecting humanity's choices, fears, and moral failures. In all cases, they encode lessons in story form, creating a symbolic language through which societies could navigate the unknown. Demons as mirrors of human nature. One reason demons have endured across time is that they reflect aspects of humanity itself. They personify internal struggles, fear, anger, obsession, desire, and ambition. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the psyche, identified demons as archetypes of the shadow, representing the parts of ourselves we deny or repress. For example, greed, cruelty, and arrogance, qualities that can destroy communities, were often externalized as demonic forces in mythology. By giving these tendencies form, Societies created a mechanism to understand and confront them. To battle a demon is, metaphorically, to confront one's own shadow, the impulses and tendencies that, if ignored, can wreak havoc on both individual and collective life. In modern terms, this explains why demonic imagery continues to resonate psychologically. Stories of possession, temptation, or corruption are not merely fantastical. They dramatize the universal human struggle with moral and ethical choices. The enduring significance of demons lies in their role as symbolic mirrors, forcing individuals to acknowledge and manage the darker aspects of their nature. Demons and the evolution of moral understanding. The moral dimension of demons is central to their significance. Early myths did not categorize demons as entirely evil. Rather, they were associated with consequences and balance. Over time, however, social, religious, and cultural systems began to simplify complex cosmologies into moral binaries: good versus evil, divine versus demonic. This process served a practical purpose. By framing certain forces as inherently evil, societies created clear moral boundaries. Behaviors, thoughts, and desires could be regulated through the lens of divine law, often reinforced by fear of demonic retribution. While this moralization obscured nuance, it also reinforced the lessons encoded in myth. Actions have consequences, knowledge has limits, and power must be tempered by wisdom. Even today, demons serve as moral symbols. In literature, film, and popular culture, they embody ethical dilemmas, temptations, and the consequences of hubris. From Faust's deal with Mephistopheles to modern horror narratives, demons dramatize the enduring tension between desire, restraint, and responsibility. In this way, the moral significance of demons persists, shaping cultural narratives and guiding human reflection. Demons and the social order. Beyond psychology and morality, demons have historically functioned as tools to maintain social cohesion. By externalizing transgression, societies could delineate acceptable behavior and warn against violations of communal norms. For example, in medieval Europe, accusations of demonic influence often targeted social deviants, heretics, or those perceived as threatening the established order. While this application of demonic imagery could be abused, it underscores a key principle. Demons function as regulators of societal and cosmic order. They remind communities of limits, whether ethical, spiritual, or practical, and enforce boundaries in a symbolic, culturally intelligible manner. The social role of demons explains why they remain present in ritual, myth, and folklore even in secular contexts. They encode lessons about cooperation, restraint, and accountability. Demons across cultures, a shared human language. One of the most striking aspects of demonology is its universality. Though forms and names differ, jinn in Arab culture, Rakshasas in Hindu tradition, kami or oni in Japan, the underlying function is remarkably consistent. Across time and geography, demons embody the tension between human ambition and cosmic limits, between desire and restraint, between the known and the unknowable. This cross-cultural presence suggests that demons are not merely products of specific religions or superstitions. They are expressions of a universal human experience, the encounter with forces, both internal and external, that challenge, guide, and define us. Whether teaching humility, enforcing limits, or revealing consequences, demons are part of a shared symbolic vocabulary, connecting humanity across cultures and epochs. Demons in modern thought. In contemporary society, dominated by technology, rationalism, and scientific explanation, demons may seem obsolete. Yet they endure, often in disguised forms. Addiction, anxiety, obsession, and destructive ideologies function as demons in modern life. We may no longer call them by that name, but the struggles they represent are identical to those encoded in myth. Moreover, the psychological framework of demons has never been more relevant. In an age of unprecedented knowledge and capability, the temptation to overreach, to act without foresight, moral guidance, or restraint, is greater than ever. Ancient myths about demons and the consequences of transgression provide a symbolic language for understanding the ethical and psychological challenges of modern life. In literature, cinema, and even video games, demons continue to serve as cultural touchstones. They dramatize inner conflict, moral dilemmas, and the consequences of hubris. By engaging with these symbols, modern audiences continue to process fears and ethical challenges that are as old as civilization itself. Lessons from the Shadow Kingdom. To understand the enduring significance of demons, we must revisit the concept of the Shadow Kingdom, the symbolic realm where power, knowledge, morality, and fear intersect. Demons emerge from this kingdom as warnings, guides, and reflections of imbalance. They teach lessons that remain crucial. Unchecked power corrupts. Whether divine, human, or technological, power without wisdom leads to destruction. Demons remind us to respect limits and consider consequences. Knowledge requires responsibility. Forbidden or premature knowledge can be dangerous. Myths about the Watchers, Prometheus, and others encode this principle. Fear reflects inner reality. Demons are projections of internal struggles. Understanding them requires introspection as much as external observation. Balance is essential. Across cultures, demons appear when equilibrium is threatened socially, morally, or cosmically. Maintaining balance is central to human and societal well-being. These lessons demonstrate that demons are not relics of superstition. They are enduring symbols of the human condition, encoding truths that remain relevant in every age. The symbolic power of demons today. The symbolic power of demons extends into philosophy, literature, and popular culture. Writers and thinkers have long used demons to explore existential and ethical questions. From Dante's Inferno to Goethe's Faust, from modern horror films to fantasy literature, demons dramatize moral and psychological conflict. This symbolic resonance is not mere entertainment. It is a continuation of a tradition in which demons were tools for understanding human experience. They externalize fear, temptation, and ethical ambiguity, creating a narrative framework in which audiences can confront difficult questions safely. By engaging with demons symbolically, we explore moral landscapes, psychological shadows, and the consequences of human action. Confronting our modern demons. In the modern world, the Shadow Kingdom exists within and around us. The demons we face may be personal, addiction, obsession, destructive impulses, or societal, such as systemic injustice, environmental collapse, or ideological extremism. Like the ancient demons, they reveal consequences when balance, wisdom, or restraint is ignored. Understanding the historical, cultural, and psychological origins of demons equips us to confront these challenges. Myths are not mere stories. They are symbolic guides, offering insight into human behavior, morality, and responsibility. By studying demons, we learn to recognize patterns, anticipate consequences, and navigate the ethical and psychological terrain of our lives. The enduring legacy. Demons have persisted because they address eternal human concerns. They are mirrors of our fears, desires, and ethical struggles. They are warnings about the misuse of knowledge, power, and authority. They are reminders that balance, restraint, and reflection are necessary for personal and societal well-being. Their enduring significance lies in their adaptability. Across cultures, centuries, and mediums, demons continue to communicate essential truths about human existence. They teach that the forces we fear are often reflections of ourselves, that moral and psychological boundaries must be respected, and that every choice carries consequences. Ultimately, demons are not mere monsters. They are teachers, mirrors, and guides. They endure because the lessons they embody about power, knowledge, morality, and self-awareness are timeless. To engage with demons, therefore, is not to indulge superstition, but to confront the deepest truths about human nature and the world we inhabit. In the stories of demons, we see our own struggles mirrored, the temptations we face, the power we wield, and the shadows we hide. By unlocking their meaning, we unlock insight into ourselves. Their legacy endures because humanity's challenges endure. Understanding, balance, restraint, and wisdom remain as vital today as they were thousands of years ago. The enduring significance of demons, therefore, is their unbroken role as guardians of human consciousness, morality, and cultural memory. The enduring significance of demons. Across millennia, demons have fascinated, terrified, and taught humanity in equal measure. They have appeared in the myths of the ancient Near East, the philosophies of Greece, the sacred texts of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, as well as in the folklore of every continent. Yet despite their varied forms, one constant remains. Demons are more than mere monsters. They are symbols of human struggle, morality, power, and knowledge. Understanding their enduring significance requires exploring their origins, evolution, and the profound lessons they convey about the human condition. As we leave the Shadow Kingdom behind, remember this: demons were never just monsters. They were mirrors of human power, curiosity, and consequence. Ancient myths preserved lessons about knowledge, restraint, and the dangers of crossing boundaries. By understanding their origins, we uncover not only the story of these mysterious beings, but also a reflection of ourselves. The Shadow Kingdom still exists, not in distant realms, but within the choices we make and the forces we fail to understand. If you found this journey into the origins of demons revealing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore more hidden truths with us.